Welcome to this week's Dream Car judging video here at BOTB. We'd now like to hand over to today's lawyer from Onside Law who'll oversee the proceedings.
My name is Lily Elliott from Onside Law and I'll be overseeing the judging this morning. Firstly, I can confirm that the competition data has already been sent to the auditing company as yet. I would now like today's judges to introduce themselves and using the secure link provided, mark on the screen where they think the centre of the ball should be. The group will then come to a final panel decision.
Good morning, my name is Matt Cannon. I'm a senior county referee and footballer.
Hi, I'm Jenna Scalacci, retired professional footballer, now operations manager at Tottenham Hotspur Academy.
Hi, my name is Harry Mendonca. I've been involved in football for over 30 years, first as a player and then as a referee.
Hi, my name's Renee Hector. I'm a coach for Watford FC Women Development and I coach for Tottenham Hotspur Foundation.
Good morning. My name's Peter Giorgio. I'm a futsal and football referee.
Hi, my name is Kieran Fitzgibbon. I've played football for more than 30 years and I'm now a senior county referee.
I'm Nigel Hicks. I've been a Supply League match official for over 30 years and I'm an experienced football administrator.
Hi, I'm Joe Thompson, ex-professional footballer and now your BBC Squad Goals radio presenter.
Judges, please now come to a final panel decision. For your reference, the larger white cross is a calculated average of the 8 individual selections.
Thank you very much, Lily. Good morning, everybody. Nigel, I'll come to you first. There's your light blue cross magnified. If you could explain what you're seeing in the photograph, where you think the ball's coming in from, etc., and then how you reached your decision, please.
Thanks, Matt. Good morning, everyone. Right, thank you. For me, it is a dropping ball. The ball's slightly in the foreground, I feel, to the players, and dropping towards the player in blue. So it's pretty much moving away from us and towards the player in blue, but dropping vertically. And that's how I feel the player in blue appears to be looking fairly much straight up towards the ball, but it is slightly in the foreground. The player in red, he gives us the elevation in terms of how far away the ball is. The fact that we can only see one eye and he's looking pretty much straight out towards that ball, that's what gives me the feeling that it's slightly in front of the player in blue. And players have both got hands on each other. The player in blue is trying to push the red away. He's got his hand on his shoulder there, trying to keep him at arm's length. Player in red's got a clear hand on the chest, and his other hand's getting ready to remove the offending arm from his shoulder. And I feel he's trying to move the player in blue backwards slightly as that ball's dropping in. So in terms of where my cross is, for me, as I say, the player in blue is looking straight up at the ball, and as I say, it's slightly in the foreground. I feel it's close. And they're getting ready to head to receive that ball. I don't get the impression they're in the air. I feel feet are planted, and in terms of elevation, I feel the player in red is looking straight across at that ball, and where the eye light to cross for me is where I put my cross.
Okay, great. And you think the blue player's favourite?
I would say blue player's favourite at this point. Yes.
Okay. Let me draw some lines up. We've got two good eyes from the player in blue. We've got Joe a little bit further over to the left. The rest of us are sort of in a very tight line up this way. And if I draw some lines in from the player in red, and across again to Joe, who's slightly higher, and then Peter just slightly lower. So first of all, I'll come to you, Peter. You're at the bottom there. There's your orange cross. What did you see?
Very similar to what Nigel has just described, with the ball coming in steeply, but coming in from going into the screen, if that makes any sense, dropping in. And again, I agree with the player in blue creating the space for himself with his left arm, pushing the player out to on the player in red on his shoulder, and the player in red is just basically trying to put the blue player off by using his arm to try and push him to the chest to prevent him getting to the ball. But I do believe that he is favourite for the ball, the player in blue creating the space. For me, it's just how far high the ball is from the player's head, and I've taken it obviously from the player in red, his eye line coming across. I don't think it's as steep as my other colleagues, but very close to Nigel, so that's where I can put the central ball.
Thank you very much, Peter. I'll come to the opposite end now, which is Joe. There's your pink cross there. That's ever so slightly the highest and a little bit to the left as we're looking at the player in blue. What did you see?
Hi, Matt. Like two other judges said, there's two players in shot. I do think blue is favourite and has the momentum. He's just trying to get his arm across the player in red and vice versa. I think the player in blue is looking to potentially knock it down with his head and then come onto it. And that's why I placed my cross a little bit higher, because I can see the white underneath his eyes. And I just think there's still a little bit more to come down in regards to the play. I do think the player in red just slightly reactive, hence why he's trying to get his arm across the player in blue, who is favourite.
So the ball's dropping in and the blue player's in control.
Maybe vertically dropping in. He's trying to nod it down into it.
Yep, understand. Okay, thank you very much. And then we've got a sort of a tight line down. I'll come to you next, Jenna. Oh, no, sorry. Yeah, Ari, I'll come to you above the yellow cross. There you are, magnified. You're on the same line up from the player in red as Joe, but a little bit more central. What did you see?
Well, thanks, Matt. Well, I felt as well the ball is dropping to the player in blue. I think he is very close of playing the ball. As it has been said before, playing blue is trying to keep his space, distance between player in red, while player in red is trying to unbalance the play in blue, and is with the right hand is trying to prepare himself for the second phase of play. As soon as the player in blue plays the ball, he will try to remove that. He's trying to remove the arm from it to try to get involved on that one. We have two good eyes from player in blue, and I decided to put slightly above his head, but slightly to our left, a little bit, just a tad. And then when I cross-referenced with the player in red, I felt that was we can see the player in red his head is slightly tilted back. That was my reason to put the cross where I placed.
Yeah. Thank you very much. And Kieran, I'll come to you next. You're ever so slightly close to the red player, but on the same trajectory up from the red player, a little bit further over to the right as we're looking at it. Do you agree with that?
I think so, Matt. Yeah, I'm generally agreeing with all of my colleagues here. The one thing I would say, though, is I look at the body position of the two players, and it's not as though they look as though they're ready to play the ball immediately. So I thought that perhaps the ball has deflected upwards and it's sort of looping in, coming in slowly. The player in blue, I think, certainly is favoured to get the ball, but it doesn't look as though he's ready to play the ball at the moment. He's got his eyes fixed on it. But also, using the player in red, it doesn't look like the ball is that far away. So I think the ball is dropping in slowly. He's manoeuvring himself in position, but he doesn't look as though I can't see how he's going to play the ball. I don't think the player in red's eye that we can see is blurry. It's not clear. I mean, the eye's a little bit close, so it's difficult to take the exact line it's on. But I think the player in blue's eyes were very much what I took from where the ball was approximately and what line it was on. But because it's that close, I think the ball's dropping in slowly. It is just in front of the player in blue, as my colleagues have said, but I'm not sure how he's going to play the ball. It doesn't look as though he's in a position to chest it. I think there's a slight surprise on the eyes from both players that it's an unusual way of receiving the ball. And that's why I still placed my cross there, because I took my impression is the ball is where my colleagues have said, but I'm not sure how it's got there.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you very much. And then we'll go the three central. So I'll come to you next, Renee. You're right in the middle of us, everybody. Yours is the dark blue cross there. How did you reach your decision?
Yeah, not too dissimilar from everybody else. I think the player in blue is favourite, but that he may be potentially trying to get his left arm across the red player to maybe bring it down on his thigh, or maybe try and back off and control the ball either with the chest or thigh or something like that. I agree with Kieran that I think the ball is moving slowly because neither player looks like they're about to play the ball imminently. But the main thing I used was obviously the eye lines and cross-reference that. And even though the player in red is got his head slightly tilted, he's still looking relatively flat. But I think that the player in blue is maybe going to start to back off a bit and try and sort of get his body in front of the player in red to potentially try and bring the ball down. Or if he is going to use his head, it's not going to be a power header. It's maybe just going to be a case of him trying to maybe head the ball down to try and do something with it next. So that's why I put my cross there. Great.
Thank you. Just to the right of yours, Renee, you can see is Jenna's. Yours, the dark green cross there, Jenna. What was your hang on all this?
Yeah, really similar to Renee, really. Two good eyes on the player in blue. I felt the ball was coming in from left to right as we're looking, but it's out in front of the players, I think. You can see there the whites underneath the player in blue's eyes. So that's where I kind of got my steepness from. I thought he was looking up and out. His arm across the body, I think I agreed with Brennan. He's just using his body just to prepare to bring the ball down. I wasn't sure either whether it was going to be a chest but I didn't feel like he was going to header it. I thought it was either going to bring it down on his chest or on his knee, as Renee said. Player in red, he's obviously got his arm across, just trying to interfere. I don't think he's favourite at all. And then I just took from his eyes, you could see there wasn't any whites under it. So he was looking kind of flat. And then obviously his head's tilted back there. So I've got my height from there, from the tilt in his head. And that's where I come to my cross.
Yeah, thank you. And last is my own, which is slap bang next to yours, Jenna. I agree. I think that the ball is coming into them, but quite steeply. I think you made a good point, Jenna, about the whites under the eyes, showing that he's looking up very steeply up from this player in blue and being in there is sort of in proximity. I also think the blue player's favourite, and I agree with Joe that he's going to try and sort of, in motion, bring it down and play it on. I think his body position is much stronger than the player in red. I mean, he may be left-handed, the player in red, but he looks like the player in blue's got a stronger hand over the shoulder of the player in red. And I just took, again, as Jenna said, this player is looking up, there's no white under his eyes, and I've just taken a line up from where I think he's looking. So there we have it. We have all of us in agreement that the blue player's favourite to win the ball. Half of us think the player in blue is specifically going to bring the ball down and play it on, and the player in red is just sort of trying to interfere with the ball. We've got a few of us who think the ball is coming down sort of quite softly. It's possibly that it's bouncing up, which is also makes a lot of sense. If I put the magnifier over the top of this calculated average, you'll see that Joe is quite a way away from the magnifier, but also I'm going to remove him principally because of the line up from the player in blue. I think it makes it quite a wide lineup, and if I remove the lines and redraw them, we have a very, very narrow band up from the player in blue, which really does sort of come to a narrow band. And then from the player in red, we've still got the same width. But I would contend personally, this is that that's to do with pace of the ball and whether it's bouncing up or it's dropping in. Whether it's dropping in at pace or slightly slower. So there we have it. So if I hover over the magnifier now, over the courses, you'll see that ever so slightly is Peter's dropping out the bottom. So I would ask you to see whether you want the calculated average moved up a little bit by removing Peters, or you're happy with the speed of the ball coming down, as sort of it could be different. And that's what would happen if Peters was removed. So just to clarify, I've removed Joe's as lead judge, and I'm going to come through you all to see whether you want to proceed with this calculated average or to have Peters removed, which moves the calculated average up a little bit more. So Jenny, if I can come to you first.
I would say to remove Peter, just because then all the crosses are totally in the magnifying glass there. So I would say it brings it a little bit tighter without Peters.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I'll put Peters back in for a moment. Ari?
I would also remove this one. I feel that the ball is not that low.
Yeah. Thank you. Renee?
Yeah, I would remove it as well.
Kieran?
Well, actually, given what I said in my spiel beforehand, the player in red's eyes, I think, are blurry. I think Peters is a justified position. So actually, although it would suit me better for where my cross is, I would say keep Peter in.
Yeah, thank you. Nigel?
I would keep Peters in. His cross is very close to mine, and I do feel that I did feel when I put them on my sight lines in, the player could be looking that low. And I feel it's a credible position, so I'd leave it in.
Yeah, thank you. And I know I've removed you, Joe, but if you could vote as well, please.
Will.
Out. Okay.
Below.
So after a panel vote 4-3, including my own, which is also thinks Peter should be removed just to get it a bit further up. That's obviously closer to my own. So Lily, after myself removing Joe's and the panel removing Peters, we're going to judge at this calculated average with the remaining 6 judges taken into consideration.
Thank you. If you're happy, then please click submit. Thank you, judges. Selected coordinates are X 1213, Y 813. These coordinates will now be passed the auditing company as X to calculate the winner of the competition, and they will then inform BOTB. That concludes the judging process. Thank you.